and I hear this often from people who don't like the initiative. It's so easy. It's so damn easy to get these initiatives on the ballot. Here in Colorado, you get 100,000 signatures, you're on the ballot. It's just that easy. I will guarantee you, anybody who says it's easy to get something on the ballot has never gotten anything on the ballot.
Well, that's exactly right. When years ago, I was in Texas working on a petition drive, many years ago, and it was during a Republican campaign for president, and the Republican candidates for president, this was when Dole was running. I think this is, it would have been '88, so George H.W. Bush ended up getting the nomination. But Dole was in the running, a number of other candidates who had you know, huge profile and big operations, spending millions of dollars running for president. They had to get 1,000 signatures to get on the Republican primary ballot in Texas. Several of them failed to get the signatures. Now that's 1,000 signatures. People who have never petitioned, if anyone says it's too easy, just get a measure on the ballot, and if you'll come back to me and tell me that it's too easy, I'll start listening. But it's absolutely extremely difficult. You're talking about somebody standing on a street corner in the cold, in the heat, going to grocery stores, going door to door,
but you can just pay for that.
People.
A rich guy can come, write a check, pay for somebody else to do that.
But the truth is, even when people have money, oftentimes the intricacies of the process, which are not made any easier by the people administering the initiative usually, but are very, very difficult. So not only do you need money to get signature gatherers out there collecting the hundreds of thousands that are needed in a lot of states, but you need attorneys, you got to have accountants for the campaign finance reports.
Lots of attorneys for your opponents who are going to sue you every step of the way and try to run all your money out. And it happens over, and I've been involved in many initiatives, and I know how this works. They claim that the petitions were done fraudulently, that this signature is not that signature. It is a very laborious process to get something on the ballot. Now you've got some experience with this one. I want to share a few stories of some of the funner stories, fun from my side as a witness, not your side. In case you don't know, this man's a criminal, an absolute criminal. You were arrested in Oklahoma. Well, first of all, what the hell were you doing in Oklahoma? I mean, you should know better than that.
Well, actually, I worked on a petition drive, and I was an advisor. I didn't spend most of my time in Oklahoma. I live in Virginia, and most of the work I did on the phone, just advising the folks there, doing a taxpayer bill of rights measure. They were also doing a measure that would have protected private property from eminent domain abuse.
Right, so they wanted to pass something like Colorado has with a taxpayer bill of rights. And right. They were using the initiative process as we did here in Colorado many years ago. They were doing it in Oklahoma. You were helping them out.
I was helping them out. One of the things that happened is that in most places, anybody can petition from anywhere in the country as long as they're 18 years of age. In Oklahoma, they had a residency requirement, which meant you had to be a resident. To make a long story short, we went to state officials, not myself, I was in Virginia, but a number of people involved in the campaign went to state officials because people had moved to Oklahoma from other states to take the job. So they asked
the job of asking people to sign the petition.
Being a petition circulator. Right. Now, only an Oklahoman can sign the petition, only an Oklahoman could propose an initiative, only an Oklahoma could vote on it. But
so the signature of the guy who says, yes, I want this on the ballot, has to be a resident of Oklahoma. The question was who could hold the initiative
clipboard. Right.
If you're not from Oklahoma, can you do that? And what? Well, you weren't from Oklahoma.
And I didn't hold the clipboard. I didn't petition in the state.
Oh, really?
I had helped advise the campaign, and when people who were running the campaign on the ground went to state officials and said, if someone moves here to take this job, can they immediately begin petitioning, and how long do they have to live here? And they were told, under Oklahoma law, they could immediately begin collecting signatures, and there's no set period of time that you have to live there. So they continued to allow people to move into the state, and other people who were out of state, who were petitioners who wanted to come in, moved, declared themselves a resident, and began collecting signatures. Now, this was a small percentage of the overall 300,000 signatures that you have to collect in Oklahoma. But anyway, they used this to throw out the petition. But that wasn't enough, because, John, we could come right back and do it again, and now that they had clarified the rules, we could follow by the new rules. Well, they were scared of that, and that's why they decided to indict 3 of us on felony charges that carried a 10-year prison term and a $25,000
for
fine.
Doing what? And wanting to put you in jail for a decade for what?
For conspiracy to defraud the state. What they alleged was that we purposely, willfully, fraudulently had people move into the state. Well, it was clear that they didn't have a case because we had people who could prove that they went to state officials. In the end, they also didn't have a law because the 10th Circuit here in Denver unanimously struck down their residency law. The charges have been dismissed. But it's a tremendous slap at someone.
This was a several-year ordeal for you.
It's been almost 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. And this is when people say it's easy to put something on the ballot. When you read the law books, yeah, it looks pretty straightforward. When you try to do it, the legal interferences, the interferences from your opposition, in this case, the interferences from the state itself, is set to stop you from simply asking the question. You're not making the law happen. All you want is for the law to be put on a ballot.
And this is not just, that's right. At the end, what would be the big harm? It would be that there'd be a vote of the people. So it's not as if there's going to be a nuclear explosion. It's a vote of the people on an issue, which should be fine. But here's the thing. It's not just that they've added burdens. We've seen since term limits swept the country, you've seen legislature after legislature pass laws to try to destroy this process, to make it so tough you can't do it. But it is something altogether different when they begin to threaten criminal prosecution and prison time and huge fines to scare and intimidate people away from this process. And it not only happened to me and my fellow co-defendants, these so-called Oklahoma 3. We're now in the clear. They've dismissed the case. I think it boomeranged on them because the people in Oklahoma are now talking about opening up their process, their bills in the legislature. So I think some very good things are going to come out of it. I didn't enjoy, nor did my wife and kids enjoy, the threat of 10 years in prison. I mean, it's outrageous.
They were just happy to get you out of the house.
But here's the thing. This is happening again and again to other folks all over the country, where they're being threatened with huge fines for doing a petition and having some technical mistake. So we really have to fight this kind of abuse.
The minute we have left here, put a cherry on top of this sundae for me. What is it that people need to know about the initiative and referendum process? Is it under attack? Why is it good? What do you want them to know?
It is under attack all over the country because politicians and special interests who have an awful lot of sway in state legislatures and their hands on a big, big pot of our tax dollars know what I know and what a lot of Americans know, which is this is the best way for citizens to check big government, to reform the process, to hem in politicians and special interests who don't want to be hemmed in. And so we have to not only protect it where we have it, like here in Colorado, we've got to expand it, and we've got to expand it to other states. There are a lot of states that don't have this process, and they don't have the kind of vibrant democracy that we ought to have in every city, in every state. Think about it. I mean, at some point, once we can get a better handle on state and local government, it'd be nice to have this at the federal level. So when they don't listen to us and they decide to build a bridge to nowhere, we might be able to take that to a referendum.
People want more information, go to citizensincharge.org.
Citizensincharge.org.
Paul Jacob, appreciate you spending some time. Tell a friend about Independence Institute. We'll see you next week.
You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.